Hello and welcome to the fourth pillar. While the whole world was caught in the whirlpool of COVID-19 pandemic, a notorious virus, the African swine fever, got into Assam and other northeastern states. And African swine fever is a killer viral disease, and it has killed many pigs in the northeast, in Assam, in Nagaland, in Meghalaya, in Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh, and almost in all the states. So, this is a very serious issue because pigs are very closely associated with the people of Assam socio-culturally, and when there is large scale pig deaths, the economy suffers. So, this is a very important issue, and today we have two very important people with us in the studio to discuss about African swine fever. We have Dr. Vivek Gupta. He is the director of National Research Center on Pig, and we have Indira Kalita. She is the director of Animal Husbandry and Veterinary Department of Assam. So, to start with, I would like to ask Dr. Gupta, how dangerous is African swine fever? We heard that the mortality rate, whenever a pig is infected, it dies. So, how dangerous is the virus, if you can tell us in short?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Roy. As you already pronounced the word dangerous, it's really dangerous. If I explain, the mortality is 100%. When it is inflicted in a farm, you will find that within a span of 5 to 7 days, whole population of pigs wiped out on a particular place. So, in that way, it's very dangerous, means it's cause a 100% economic loss to the pig farmer.
So, Dr. Gupta, how did African swine fever, because the name is African, how did it land in Assam and other northeastern states?
See, there are many school of thoughts regarding this infliction, this disease in particular place. See, you know that this is not a new infection. It is a 100 years old infection emanated from somewhere from Kenya, and it traveled long place throughout the globe, right from the Eastern Europe. It has entered the China, and from China to most of the countries of the South Asia, and it has been presumed that this disease came from Tibet to Arunachal Pradesh, and from Arunachal Pradesh it has been observed that when the mortality starts because of some disease they were not knowing, and the carcasses of the dead pigs, they were thrown in the rivers. There are certain tributaries of the Brahmaputra emanated from that area, and these carcasses somewhere they are banked, and the dogs in the vicinity, they fed on those carcasses, and those dogs, when they move toward the villages and come in contact with our domestic pigs and farms, that is the way the disease spread. And from that place, it came to our Dhemaji district, from Dhemaji to Lakhimpur, and then slowly through the movement of pigs, it spread the many districts of Assam.
Whole of Northeast accounts for about 47% of India's pig population. So, Assam is the largest state in the region. Ma'am, how many pigs got infected and how many pigs died in Assam due to African swine fever?
Yes, almost 1,50,000 pigs died, and 49 epicenter was declared from last year. So, almost 15,000 families affected.
Okay, so that's 15,000 families affected in Assam only is quite a big figure, and 1,50,000 pigs death is again a very big number. So, that's again a very conservative figure, because there is some disparity in the figures. Farmers claim there are more deaths, but ma'am, as Dr. Gupta said, that carcasses were flowing by the rivers, and dogs fed on those carcasses. When did you come to know that the deaths are due to ASF? How did you come to know about that?
When pig died one by one, then it was thought that it is not classical swine fever. The symptom was little different. So, the sample was sent to Bhopal in that laboratory, and then it was found that it is African swine flu fever. Sorry.
Yeah, African swine fever, as Dr. Gupta said, is really dangerous and it can wipe out the entire population in a farm. Dr. Gupta, National Research Center on Pig is the national center, so only of its kind in the country, and fortunately it is in Guwahati. So, what kind of help did you extend to Government of Assam and to the 7 other states, because this region is worst affected, because beyond the region still now there has been no report of ASF in the country. So, how have you helped the states in the northeast?
Yeah, when our institute come to know that there is a mortality due to some unknown diseases, especially in the Dhemaji district, and that time the samples were collected by the state government officials. They were planning to send it to Bhopal, because that is the only laboratory which is mandated to test all exotic viruses. But for our in-house diagnosis, the scientists from my institute, they were having the kind of reagents for testing. Immediately they come in the contact of Northeastern REDL, which is located in the Khanapara, and the state government officials. They provided reagents, and prima facie they proved here itself that this is a virus which comes under the category of African swine fever. But for further confirmation, as per Government of India mandate, the Bhopal laboratory has to confirm further. So, in that way our institute initially helped, and later our scientists visited those areas, and village to villages infected areas, they did all kind of awareness campaign there. They distributed lot of material like pamphlets, and they did all awareness meetings in different areas, especially how to protect our pigs, because there is no vaccines for this disease. So, biosecurity was the only thing which has to be taught to the pig rearers. So, our scientists helped in creating awareness about this disease at that time.
So, you talk of biosecurity, which is the only way to check the spread of African swine fever. So, what kind of initiative did you take from NRC Pig, to sensitize farmers on biosecurity?
Our teams of our scientists, first they identified the areas where are actually epicenters. Those information was already with the Animal Husbandry Department. They provided us the information, and scientists went there, then stayed there and arranged camps in different parts with the help of local governing bodies. And there they gave the lectures. They took the LCD projectors also with them. They show how this disease can create a kind of a problem. That time farmers were not ready to that this infection is of such magnitude. But that time scientists, they really worked hard to go village to village and ask them, just don't get these animals mixed with the healthy animals, and all kind of biosecurity protocols they taught these people that time.
So, 15,000 farmers affected in Assam only. So, what would be the total number of farmers in entire northeast affected because of this ASF?
See, we people actually worked in the different areas of northeastern states through our various programs, like we have one program which is called Tribal Subplan, and another is a SCSP. So, through that our teams used to go in villages. So, exact data of the farmers which are being affected may be available with the state department, but our people, they have contacted 8 to 10,000 farmers that time, which are real pig farmers basically. We have just our data based on those programs.
In Assam or in whole of Northeast?
And mainly in Assam, but some part of the Meghalaya also. And but that time actually the disease was mainly in Assam, and our teams were focused on that area only.
Dr. Gupta, I can understand that carcasses came flowing down from Arunachal Pradesh or from Tibet, and it spread in Assam. How did it cross the interstate border and get into Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland and other states in the region?
Yeah, that's really a $1 million question. we most probably this transport of pork or pig products, that is one reason, or other reason may be interstate boundaries, they are not that kind of stringency there, some kind of illegal trade. I don't know why you should use these words, but maybe because the people they are habitual of there is some sort of people with kind of illegal trade. So, illegal trade might be one of the reason to this disease has reached to the Meghalaya.
So, coming back to Assam, ma'am, you talked about 15,000 families being affected and about 1.5 lakh pigs died because of ASF during the last 1 year or 1.5 years. Ma'am, what kind of compensation did Assam government extend to the farmers, because pig is a source of livelihood for the farmers?
Yes.
And lot of young entrepreneurs, educated youths, unemployed, they are also into pig farming. So, 1,50,000 pigs dead means they are in bad shape. So, how did you help them from government of Assam side?
The compensation was given to the culled pigs. They got the compensation. Different rates are there, piglets, heifer and bigger one. But now again we are in this budget, we have proposed for compensation. So, we have not received yet, but we have heard that some amount is given for the compensation to the youth, because many were affected.
Okay. So, Dr. Gupta, NRC pig, as you said, is sensitizing farmers and the state departments in educating everyone on biosecurity. So, you reached out to 10,000 farmers in Assam and nearby Meghalaya, you see. How are you reaching out to the other states, because you are a national research center and you will have to reach out to everyone, not only in the region, across the country in fact. So, what kind of sensitization you are doing for the other states beyond Assam?
Usually when disease incidents reported in other states, as usual procedure, the state animal assembly department used to contact us, and when we got the information through media and channels like you, we contact them. And problem is that as on today there is no preventive care for that. So, only thing we advise them that this is the SOP for biosecurity. We have a literature with us. We immediately supply in the digital format to emails, like it happened with the Mizoram. Recently, things started, like the Arunachal and all in these states. So, digitally we send the literature and we ask them, please distribute it to areas, and subsequently when they say there is a mortality in that particular area, we send teams of our scientists. So, at the best what we help is to provide the timely diagnosis, because we do not have any kind of a vaccines, diagnosis and the awareness. If disease is confirmed it is a ASF, then awareness campaign through literature distribution or arranging awareness camps in those areas. But certainly we have not covered much of the other part of the northeast. Major focus was on the Assam, because this was a major affected state that time. This is the reality.
So, recently we have seen Mizoram and Meghalaya, these are the two states badly affected because of ASF, and Mizoram is one state, it's very far from Guwahati. So, what kind of interventions you have done in Mizoram?
Mizoram actually having one veterinary college under Central Agriculture University. In that university, we have our All India Coordinated Program unit. Through that unit, we have a scientist there, and we advise them wherever you got the information regarding mortality through ASF, please go there, collect the samples and immediately send to us. So, through messenger immediately, or whatever the material we have given to them, literature and all, you go there, arrange meetings, that is a SOP. In those areas, you go and arrange the meetings. So, in Mizoram, through that our center in the Aizawl, that Central Agriculture University Veterinary College, these people are taking care.
Okay. Dr. Gupta, you collect the samples. After that, what do you do with the samples?
See, with these samples, there is a prescribed test by the OIE, that is the international body for these animal diseases, which is under FAO, just like WHO for human. They prescribe the test and we perform those tests. That is a polymerase chain reaction, because it is a DNA virus, it is very easy. So, we have a kind of reagent which we call primers for that. So, within 3 to 4 hours we confirm actually this is that particular virus. For immediate diagnosis, we have some lateral flow test. So, at the spot where disease occurred, animal died, we take some samples, some body secretions, or if a dead animal is there, we open it and take some tissue samples. So, immediately within 5 minutes we can tell, but the sensitivity of those kind of tests is near about 50%. So, after getting that test positive, we get some idea that disease is there. So, then we send sample immediately to our biosecurity lab in our institute. There we perform PCR. So, PCR is the ultimate test to tell this is the disease is confirmed.
Dr. Gupta, is your lab BSL-3 certified?
No, that lab is not BSL-3, it is BSL-2 plus.
Okay.
So, BSL-3 lab is required when you are handling the live virus. So, as on today we are not handling live virus, we are handling the contaminated material for which we have sufficient containment facility at our institute.
So, even if you are not BSL-3, you can undertake such tests in your
diagnostic test we can undertake.
Okay.
Yeah.
But for confirmatory test, you will have to send it to Bhopal?
No,
or
confirmatory, now Bhopal laboratory's mandate is when the infection is exotic, means is the first time it is reported, it is new. That time, as per Government of India mandate, the sample has to go to Bhopal. When the virus is endemic, now you say it is everywhere now, so this is endemic. So, there is no need to send every time sample to Bhopal. Any IDDL located in Guwahati and our institute, we are capable enough to do those tests.
how often do you send your samples to Northeast Regional Diagnostic Lab?
We usually do not send them, we receive sample, we do our own, they receive their sample their own, because as I told that we have our system through various programs through the village areas. So, we have a contact with the various farmer groups, associations. So, whenever they are in distress, we receive distress call, we immediately send the people to collect the sample, and immediately within no time, 4 to 5 hours, we immediately tell them the disease has come, be careful and adopt that SOP.
Recently, I saw a video produced by NRC Peak that was in Assamese, and that was produced 13 months ago. And I was shocked to see that only 500 people have seen the video. So, view of only 500, whereas ma'am talked about 15,000 families affected only in Assam because of ASF. So, ma'am, as Director of Veterinary of Assam, are you getting the right kind of support which is expected from NRC Peak?
Yes, we are getting support from time to time whenever we require, and we also from our side, also from our department, additional chief secretary send one letter to all district administration DCs for the awareness of the farmers and to look after the biosecurity. Our veterinary people, veterinary doctors, they help for biosecurity. We are also giving leaflets to them for awareness.
So, these leaflets are designed by your department?
Our department.
Not by NRC Peak?
Actually, last year those leaflets were prepared. So, this same thing was, I think it was supported by you only.
Yeah.
Yes. These leaflets again we have printed and now we are distributing, because recently there was it was found in 2 districts, Dorong and Baksa. So, that is why we are again sending this.
Coming back to the affected families,
Yes.
you talked about 15,000 families affected. So, 15,000 families affected and 1,50,000 pigs died. So, you talked about culling also. So, how many animals did you cull in Assam during the last 1.5 years?
Cull was in the government farms. We have 3 government farms in Khanapara, here Khanikor in Dibrugarh district and another in Morigaon district. There were those were culled, and for private farmers, culling was not done much, already pig died. So, I think there will be around 200-300 culling was there. So, those compensation they got culling for culling, but those pigs died, the compensation will given by us after the budget we have received.
Okay, Dr. Gupta, when 1,50,000 pigs death reported in Assam and 200-300 pigs culled in the private sector, do you think that's enough to control ASF in this kind of an endemic situation?
No, you are right that that cannot be justified, but actually as per SOP what they do, whenever there is a report that there is a disease in a particular place, so they declare that a region is an epicenter. So, 1 kilometer radius of that epicenter, they declare it as an infected zone. So, culling is only allowed in that infected zone. From that epicenter to up to 10 kilometers, means 1 kilometer plus 9 kilometer area, that is a surveillance zone. So, culling animals which are under the infected zone, it is only allowed. But question is that whenever they reach the infected zone, even if it took 2 days, 3 days or 4 days, most of the population already wiped out. That is the reason.
Yes.
So, the number of pigs they got, they are very less. So, they go for a kind of a culling. Like if you see in the Mizoram, if you talk to the villagers, they simply say there is a bullet on the head. They know only that they take the healthy pig and they put a bullet on their head and they kill. So, they do not know actually what they are doing. So, we created awareness. This is as per your safety, this is for your safety. Infected zone animals are carrying active infection. If these animals go to other areas, they will spread. So, 9 kilometer area around the infected zone, it is a surveillance zone, and for that state government has created separate teams for that. It is called task forces, and that task forces include one microbiologist, one epidemiologist, and state veterinary officer is there. So, those 3 people has to be there permanently in that area, and there is a protocol that per people working in the infected zone should not cross that area, should not go to the surveillance zone, and the people working in the surveillance zone should not enter in that area. So, in that way what you say, the culling of the 200-300 people, that may be the region of the less culling.
Ma'am, there are reports that when a farm is infected or a nearby farm is infected, farmers are going for mass slaughter of the pigs and they are selling pork. So, how dangerous it is for human beings to consume pigs infected with African swine fever?
As per my knowledge, it is not a zoonotic disease. It, I think it's do not transmit to human being. It's pig to pig.
So, there is no public health.
But it is not advisory to sell the infected pig.
Dr. Gupta, you are a microbiologist, you can tell us better how
Yes.
dangerous it is to slaughter a pig which is already infected.
It is really dangerous in 2 ways. First thing, that at the place where this infected pig is being slaughtered, the people who are getting sacrificing that animal, the sprinkles of their blood, etc., they go on their clothes, and after slaughtering those animals, if they go to in their farms, in their home, and they come in contact with these healthy pigs, they will spread the infection. Second thing is, the offals of those slaughtered animals, they used to throw it somewhere. There is a routine practice in our backyard piggeries, because government can't do everything, no. People should also be responsible, and you must have seen that the offals which are thrown is taken by the dogs, and those dogs are roaming around everywhere. If we enter in the healthy flock of the pig, they will spread. So, in that way it is very dangerous. Yes, it is true that, as madam said, that it is not a zoonotic disease. There is no question of any human infection through infected animals, but thank God that our cooking habits are that if virus is there, if somehow it enters through in the food chain, it die, but it is not recommended to consume the pork or meat of any infected animal.
Dr. Gupta, you talked about Central Agricultural University in Mizoram, and Mizoram is one of the worst affected in case of ASF. So, Central Agricultural University had a piggery farm, or rather they have a piggery farm, and the entire population was wiped out. So, you have your best of the microbiologists there, you have your people there, you have all experienced veterinarians there. Why it happened? Why couldn't they stop, or why didn't they follow the biosecurity protocol?
Yeah, that's a real question of concern. Actually, there must have been somewhere is a breach of biosecurity. We have to realize it, because their farm belongs to our project only. And when we received the information that there is a mortality, that time itself we analyzed that one problem is that the most of the farms are being managed through contractual laborers, and these laborers comes from different villages, and they are not that much of educated. They are virtually they are semi-literate people. If some pig died in their village infected with that, and they are coming to the same farm to work, so that has been a become greatest hazard. And really we analyze that the contractual labor would have been one of the weak link when spreading the ASF in our farms there.
Dr. Gupta, it is very easy to blame contractual laborers, because you have the best qualified veterinarians heading the farm. They should have ensured biosecurity there and not blame it on the contractual workers in fact. Because if the protocol is set, the contractual laborers will have to follow the protocol and enter the farm.
Yeah, certainly you are right. You are right that I am not blaming actually. What I am telling, it's a kind of a if you just epidemiological trace back of the infection, because the most of the developing countries, or you see the developed countries also, if you see if I can quote an example of the in 2001 or 2, the FMD outbreak in Great Britain, where you see this is the highest level of biosecurity was breached by this virus, and it came through the tires of a truck. That virus came, the debris was there in the truck, and the truck was coming from Netherlands. So, the infection from Netherlands came to Great Britain, and it was a havoc. So, certainly I am not blaming any worker. Question is that at that time when the workers enter in the farm, there is a set protocol. He has to change the cloth, there is a foot dip, he has to take the bath and change the clothes, put the apron, gumboots, etc. There has been some breach at some point of time, because they have not induced any animal from outside that flock. So, that is ruled out, that infection came through animal from outside. So, there has to be some human wear, which is the weak link for that particular.
So, after the Mizoram episode, what kind of special measures that you are taking at NRC Pig in Guwahati, so that your population is not wiped out?
Thank God, I will say that our farm is still we are just protecting through biosecurity only, because as you know there is no vaccine, and that from main gate to the entrance of farm we have a triple layer security. Any unauthorized person is not allowed to enter. Only authorized people which are working in the farm, they have to enter. And what I just told that we are also using contractual workers from different areas. We have a set protocol. They have to remove their clothes, they have to change the clothes, they have to take the bath before entering, they go through the foot dip, take the gum boots, and they put the mask and everything, the gloves, etc. inside the when we enter and they touch the animals. So, those kind of protocols in place. So, we have saved our animals so far with the biosecurity only.
Madam, while we are fighting a losing battle against ASF, don't you think that both the viruses came in at the same time, Corona and ASF, almost the same time? Corona got so much of attention, because it's a pandemic, it's a worldwide issue, whereas ASF being a regional issue did not get, do you think it did not get the right attention of people in the government or policy makers, and that is why it has spread? Like, we have not seen people in the government talking much about ASF, because all the talking is about corona only, because there is involvement of human beings, whereas ASF is only for pigs and we let the pigs die basically. So, my observation is in relation to corona, ASF did not get the right kind of attention from government like Assam also. So, how do you respond to that?
Yes, partially I agree, it is true, and we are still trying for vaccine. There is no vaccine right now. So, this is a problem, but in government level there is so many meetings right now, and there are some association related pig farmers. They are also claiming to declare it as pandemic, and they are also asking help from government. So, recently our Honorable Chief Minister met them and he heard about all this thing, and I hope he will do something on it.
Okay, Madam just talked about vaccine. See, corona is comparatively a new virus, and if you compare that with ASF, ASF is about 100-year-old virus. So, in 100 years a DNA virus, why we could not develop a vaccine or line of treatment to save the pigs? So, that is a question for Dr. Gupta.
Yeah. See, the problem is not with the technology or whatever the vaccinology scientist has emanated till today. Here I will say the problem is with the virus. Virus, if now we are talking about COVID-19, and yes, in COVID-19 there was a one protein which is called spike protein, which scientists easily identified, and that was a protective protein, and they took that protein and make a vaccine. Here if you will find this DNA virus, it is a double stranded DNA virus, and this virus is so hardy, and it is not the first time that somebody will make a vaccine. Since 60s people are making lot of efforts to develop different kind of vaccines, like this Covaxin which you are using for human being. That effort made in 60s, but that failed. Reason being, this virus so far 170 to 180 proteins has been recognized, but scientists are struggling to know which protein out of these 170 to 180 proteins are really protective in a vaccine, like spike protein COVID-19. So, in that way, ultimately what scientists feels that if we are entangle ourselves with this all sort of jamboree of this kind of 170, 180 the proteins, to search immunogenic protein, let us go for a whole virus. So, in last 20 years scientists are working to have this live attenuated vaccines, means a virus whose pathogenicity is reduced can be used as a vaccine. So, those kind of approach has really giving lot of promises, but problem here is the reservoir of this disease is supposed to be wild boars or a tick which thrive on those wild boars, that is Ornithodomus, which is called a soft tick. The question is that when you make a vaccine and make a trial on these vaccine on about domestic pigs, but virus is happily enjoying in the wild boar population. So, how to vaccinate that population? So, that is a major problem with that. So, in last 20 years using the live attenuated virus as a vaccine has giving lot of promising results, and hopefully in 1 year, next coming years, that is one live attenuated vaccine which will replace a pathogenic gene of that particular virus will come, and hopefully we will have some kind of protection for our animals also.
Madam, Assam has huge wild pig population also, and out of which Nal Gahari or the pygmy hog, which was once thought to be extinct, and it's now somehow it has been captive bred, and now we have started releasing in smaller numbers to the forest again, and Manas is one area where they are being reintroduced, Sonai Rupai, Nameri and all these places. So, these places are again very close to Bhutan, and Bhutan has already reported African swine fever. So, African swine fever in Bhutan, spreading, crossing the river, Manas river, and getting into Manas is going to be a very, very big issue. So, as NRC pig, you also have you have primary responsibility of protecting and developing the domesticated pigs basically.
Yes.
But if the domesticated pigs are the cause of death in wild pigs, the whole world is not going to spare you, because Pygmy Hawk Conservation Project is part of a multi-level joint venture. You have Government of India, Government of Assam, several international NGOs put together. They run this conservation project, and out of only 6 piglets, they have crossbred in captivity, and the population is around 200-300 now. So, the whole world population is only 200-300. So, what is your protective biosecurity level for these wild habitats?
See, one approach which was Assam government also used that time when this disease came and come to know that wild pigs and also the reservoir for that, they make a trenches around this nature and this wild sanctuaries like Manas, this Manas Park and the Kaziranga and all. They have created trenches so that the wild boar should not cross their boundary to spread the infection. But question is that when we are giving lot of efforts to develop a vaccine against the African swine fever for domestic pigs, at the same time we have to give lot of emphasis to vaccinate that particular population of the wild pigs. How to do that? That is the issue. So, one approach scientists have suggested, that is mixing the vaccine in the bat, oral bat. So, oral bat vaccine will be the only answer to vaccinate those wild population, because as you rightly said, if the domesticated pigs are found responsible for spreading infection in the wild animals, certainly there will be a big issue for that. So, recently I think the ICNU also taken this kind of a issue that vaccines in oral bat has to be developed simultaneously. When the vaccine is to be developed for domesticated pigs, the oral bat vaccine has to come simultaneously.
But when is the vaccine coming?
So, in India, as per my knowledge, some projects as being granted by Department of Biotechnology to some universities, where this Khanapara is one of the component in that. And that vaccine, hopefully they will try to explore as much as the technologies like our traditional vaccines, like this Covaxin kind of a thing, or modern vaccine where the genome editing is required. A gene which is responsible for the disease, they want to delete that gene from the virus, and that virus can be created, can be used, but certainly those vaccines are having a lot of fallouts. Reason being, live attenuated vaccine, though it may be of low pathogenicity, may not create active infection, but sometime due to residual virulence, if that vaccine is being used, it will again flare up the infection. So, those kind of things are really creating scientists in a real problem. So, how to tackle those kind of issues, that the residual virulence is one out of that.
Ma'am, while we are talking about African swine fever, the classical swine fever is again one issue where Assam has always been affected, and even classical swine fever does not have vaccines available in the market. So, farmers always try and smuggle vaccines from Thailand and other places where the cold chain is not maintained, and there is no use of vaccinating the animals, because when animals still die because you do not maintain the cold chain. So, when how optimistic are you when we are still struggling with classical swine fever vaccines in India, though there has been some transfer of technology from IVRI, I understand, but how soon are you optimistic that how soon ASF virus can come?
You mean vaccine for classical swine fever?
No, ASF.
ASF vaccine. Okay. We are hoping for this vaccine soon, otherwise there is no way, because classical swine fever vaccine is a different vaccine. So, we are hoping for, waiting for innovation of this vaccine.
So, that may take 10 years, 20 years also. So, what should be the roadmap to resolve this problem? Dr. Gupta?
It may not take 10 years or 20 years. If you see the example, the really yes, you are right that for a vaccine cycle in classical terms is a 10 years. If you want to develop vaccine, a final full-fledged vaccine take 10 years. But when you see in the COVID-19 cases, that cycle is reduced to 10 months, though lot of data has to come. That is why there is a lot of questions also there. But here I do not think it will take 10 years, because the live attenuated vaccines does not require much of the very high end technologies, but that residual vigilance is the only issue. Scientists has to first get it confirmed through some technologies that this virus will not cause active infection, but it will give the immunity to the animals. Simultaneously, there will be some vaccine for wild animals. Only then hopefully these vaccines will be launched, but I hope that 1 and in 2 years time the vaccine will certainly come. But question is that in India this is really in infancy. China claims that they have some kind of a what is called killed vaccine like this Covaxin type of, but that vaccine it is proved that it does not induce cellular immunity. For any viral infection to get immunity, cellular immunity is required. So, I do not know how this vaccine is working. They claim, I have read somewhere that China has developed their own in-house vaccine. So, that kind of vaccine any day scientists can come and within virus level 40-50 passage level, it will take 6 to 7 months to come out like that, but that vaccine will not work. Otherwise, this would have come a long back. India has a lot of vaccinology developments in our country itself, and a lot of private sectors are also there.
Okay, thank you very much. We had a discussion on African swine fever. Though African swine fever does not spread to human beings, but it is always required to be extra careful, so that you are not consuming pork which is infected with African swine fever, because human beings can also consuming pork infected with African swine fever could also emerge as super spreader of this killer disease. So, if we love pork and if we want to preserve the pig population of Assam and other northeastern states, we should be extremely careful while consuming pork from today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.